Schefter tweeting this right at the beginning of our show. Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott has narrowed down his options about where to play to the Eagles, Jets, and Bengals. He'd like to make his decision about where to sign by the end of next week per sources. That's something to keep an eye on. But also this when it comes to the Cowboys. Okay, Tony Pollard signed the franchise tag. Reminder, he broke his fibula 60 days ago. We'll keep an eye on exactly what happens with him. But let's bring in Jeff Darlington here as you think about Pollard, Jeff. But what does this actually mean with him signing the franchise tag for the Cowboys?
Laura, it is significant. It's very important. This means that Tony Pollard will be at all the offseason workouts. He will be at training camp. He is the featured back for the Dallas Cowboys. He'll get $10.1 million this coming season. Now, the two sides can continue to negotiate for a long-term deal, the deadline being July 15th for that. But ultimately, this just kind of sets aside any potential drama. We know Ezekiel Elliott is no longer with the team. We know that Ronald Jones recently signed. He'll be the backup to Pollard. But big things for Pollard ahead, according to Jerry Jones. And now you take any potential drama out of that mix.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of felt like this was the direction they would go, Tim. But do you like what the Cowboys have done with their running backs, tagging Pollard and letting Zeke go?
I do like it because I think you've seen it and they learned the lesson. Like you extend a running back and, next thing you know, it feels like you've overpaid a running back who's banged up. It can easily happen at that position. I like it for this reason. Pollard, because of how he came into the league, it feels like there's an appreciation. Like, hey, opportunity to sign the franchise tag, I'm going to sign it. I'm going to make $10 million this year, more than I've made, and I'm excited to be there. And I think you have one of the more explosive backs in the game as your lead back. And I also like the pairing of Ronald Jones for a guy that's a pretty good situational runner. So I do think in a weird way, even though Dak had been outstanding for them and, it was a great Cowboy, I actually think they're better at the position now, Laura, than they were, a week ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you guys why Tony Pollard signed that franchise tender. It's because he sees what the running back market is. He ain't no dummy. He gonna take that 10.1 and coming off a broken leg and understand what the assignment is. But I don't think the Cowboys are done at the running back position. They've already filled the two most pressing needs on their team by trading for Brandon Cooks and Stephon Gilmore to solidify the receiver room and also the cornerback position. Low risk moves that could possibly have championship caliber results, but they gotta gear up to go get another running back, and who better to go get than Texas's very own Bijan Robinson. Of all the backs in this draft, he is the most special. He can do everything that Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott could do in one package. The couples, one stat for you here, as I said, when the glasses go on, the facts come out. Bijan Robinson over the last 2 years has broken 183 tackles. The next closest guy in college football, 123. Ooh. Hey, Laura, do you know what Bijan Robinson's name stands for?
I don't.
All right, so it's Persian. It's of Persian descent, and it means hero. But every defender that he goes up against thinks that he's the villain.
Okay, Robert. You know what my favorite thing is that everyone's face is on the screen after he drops these lines. Robert, yeah, I caught you with that understood the assignment drop in there too. We get a little TikTok in the action. Hey, here's something else though. Division rival the Eagles could also be a suitor for Bijan Robinson. Remember, they have the 10th overall pick. They don't have Miles Sanders anymore. Be interesting if the Cowboys are trying to get him. You could see Jerry Jones get a little aggressive. We'll keep an eye on that too for sure. All right, let's get to some more news. And this was really unfortunate to see, but we're hoping for the best. Free agent tight end Foster Moreau has been diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, a form of cancer, and is stepping away from football to receive treatment. The 25-year-old Moreau was diagnosed following a physical with the Saints medical staff. And Moreau wrote on Twitter that, quote, "This free agency period has been life-changing for me." The New Orleans native, who played collegiately at LSU, played the past 4 seasons for the Raiders and has had 91 catches, just over 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns. Moreau ended his tweets about the cancer discovery with this quote. He said, "I'll go kick this thing's ass and get back to doing what I love," end quote. Wishing the best. What are you hearing as it relates to Zeke's destination?
Well, Laura, when we look at those 3 teams, what do we see? We see 3 potential contenders this season. The Jets, obviously, if they have Aaron Rodgers, move higher up onto that list along with the Eagles and the Bengals. So this is clearly a situation where Zeke is saying, look, I've done it all, I've made the money, now I want to chase a championship. The question becomes, where is the best fit? I mean, you could look at the Jets. I know it feels like we're sort of assembling this dream team of names, but it actually does make sense given that Breece Hall is dealing with the torn ACL recovery. They could use a running back. They'll have to sign somebody. The Bengals, on the other hand, makes sense because we really don't know about Joe Mixon's future. And the Eagles, well, I mean, a Cowboys running back, a Cowboys legend going to the Eagles to finish out his career, that too feels like a storyline too amazing to ignore.
Yeah, that one surprised me just a little bit, but maybe there's a little bit of a, hey, I'd like to play in the NFC East and show you a little something. What do you think about potential destinations, those three teams? For Zeke?
Well, I would actually say, kind of to your point, the Eagles actually seems to make the least amount of sense for me. The other two, and Jeff just touched on it, you look at the situation for the Jets, obviously Breece Hall is coming off the ACL injury. Bam Knight's a young back, an older back that will not have to carry the load for the entire season, assuming Breece Hall comes back healthy, Zonovan Knight, back in the mix. And so I think that is a team that would certainly be interesting. And I would just say this about the Cincinnati Bengals. And people that have talked about Z maybe being a little bit slower, got 22 rushing touchdowns in the last 2 seasons. He is still an exceptional situational runner, so meaning short yardage and goal line runner. And so if you have that ability to be part of your offense, that changes things quite a bit. If you're Cincinnati, that would be one I would watch for sure.
I would say that the Eagles doesn't make sense, but for different reasons. It's not the playing of Ezekiel Elliott. I think if you're going to go to the Eagles, they've seen you kill them year after year after year. They might want some of that on their side now, even if it's not quite as explosive as it used to be. But if I'm Ezekiel Elliott, I'm not going to Philly because I don't want to tarnish my Cowboys legacy. I feel like that is a part of his story that he has to think about, because going to the Eagles definitely gives him an opportunity to win. But I look at this and I say the Jets are the best fit. You talked about Zonovan Knight, you talk about Breece Hall, Michael Carter is also there. But Ezekiel Elliott, if you want to get him motivated to go out and give it a last hoorah, why not go to the Jets with a guy like Aaron Rodgers who can pull the best out of you? I think that would be an interesting fit. And if we get Ezekiel Elliott, Aaron Rodgers, OBJ, all these guys in New York, I mean, we're going to have a frenzy on NFL Live and First Take and Get Up for the entire year. It'll be glorious.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it all sounds great, right? We're just waiting for it all to happen, although the Jets have been, not so quietly even, assembling this team of a lot of good players as they've made some moves even this week. We'll keep an eye on all of that. Another note, too, Tony Pollard signed the franchise tag today with the Cowboys, so we'll keep an eye on exactly what they do at running back. But there's a lot to get to today, guys. We're just getting